And speaking of storylines, the biggest storyline every year is a team's first round pick. Just
Yes.
about, unless you're the Ravens, then somehow it's always about Lamar. But one of the biggest storylines for the Baltimore Ravens this offseason was the wide receiver position. They addressed it with Odell, they addressed it with Zay Flowers. Now Zay Flowers is finally in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if anybody has heard, but Zay Flowers is technically injured right now. He has a
Oh, they
minor knee.
heard.
He'll be back next week. Um, Shocker, anybody? No. The last three, no. Brashad Perriman also had injury problems. So the last four first round pick wide receivers for the Ravens have had not major, but like tweaks consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Zay Flowers, this is a one-time deal or whatever, but Ravens fans are all too familiar with the rookie wide receiver getting hurt in the offseason. Now Bateman was known that he was gonna, or he came back, got hurt, missed a lot of time. Hollywood was coming back off of the List Frank,
Yeah.
got hurt, missed time. But Hollywood was typically just like in and out of the lineup quickly. This isn't anything major by any means. It's like a small tweak. He'll be back next week. But the biggest thing is he was talking with Steve Smith Sr. And if y'all don't know about Steve Smith Sr., smaller, physical, wide receiver, pretty solid after the catch. One of the most dominant wide receivers of this century. And I believe he has like 14,000 career receiving yards, which is one of the most all time. So overall, Steve Smith's the guy to be talking to, and Steve Smith loves Zay Flowers. Joshua, what are your thoughts on kind of that connection and they've already been talking. They've already linked up. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Man, it's huge for the simple fact that, John Harbaugh called Steve Smith. Say, hey, man, what you think about Zay? If he's there, and Steve told him, if he's there at the first, in the first, take him. And granted, I know they're gonna get on the comments about me, about me wanting Jordan Addison. Oh, you're crazy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Hey, uh, talk about me bad if you want to. I don't care. I wanted the Maryland guy. It is what it is. We're moving forward. I'm on the Zay Flowers bandwagon, just like everybody else. But the great thing that you hear about Zay Flowers is, since he stepped on the field, he's been taking off. He's been showing
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, they did draft me in the first round for a reason. And I'm gonna show y'all, when it's time to, lace up. And that's what he's been doing. And when Steve Smith, pretty much told him like, hey man, that's a good organization that drafted you. Talking about Baltimore, you know, uh talking about how EDC got his Boston accent, and how certain people in the facility going to take care of you, and how asked the people that do the jerseys to send them out one. And Zay said, "Hey man, I'm gonna send my jersey out to you myself personally." And one thing that Steve Smith said to Zay Flowers that Zay has to understand is embrace the city, meaning you know I don't know if Baltimore, Maryland is one of these blue collar city states. I don't know if it's considered as one of those type of places. But when he says embrace the city, he means they gonna love you. They gonna show you love, just like the same way they show Hollywood love. It's just the same way we show Lamar love. Hell, I forgot the name of the guy, but he even showed Greg Roman love. Before and after the game. Whether it was good love or bad love, I forgot who it was, but he recorded himself talking to him, and Greg Roman would interact. But Zay, you know, this is an organization where we're gonna treat you like family regardless. We know what you're
Mm-hmm.
capable of. We know what you bring to the table. And he said he gonna show out and show up and get a lot of touchdowns. And honestly, I'm looking forward to the show, man.
Yeah, I think the way that the city, the way that fans always treat their players is based on the interactions that they have with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? The guy, you never see hatred for players that are great to their community, right? It's almost always Now maybe Philadelphia is a bit different. Philadelphia gets kind of crazy with their fandom.
Giants too.
Giants as well, like New York, Philly, they get kind of wild. But in general, right, if you're good in the city or you're great off camera and you're just a personable guy, you're going to get hype. Obviously, there's going to be negativity after certain moments. Like, we were plenty of times we were frustrated with Marquise Hollywood Brown. Like, we were frustrated. Yeah. But at the same time, I felt like, from my perspective, people were overall pretty positive towards him in terms of like rooting for him. You don't see that with a lot of other teams, like I said, Philly, just hating on their former first round pick wide receiver that they ended up taking right in front of Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor. A lot of hatred for it. Yeah. But overall, it's like wishing the best, right? I think Ravens fans still look at Brashad Perriman when he signs and they're like, nice. He just signed to the Colts. Like, I was like, let's go, dude. Like good job. Yeah. Because this is just a great, we experienced it firsthand. We love Ravens fans. You guys are great. You guys are really supportive and things of that nature. But, Zay is going to go out there and he's going to do his best. And the benefit is the whole city and the media, I doubt it's ever going to be on Zay. It's always going to be on Lamar. When you're a rookie wide receiver and your team doesn't have a quarterback, I think that's scarier because it's like, how are they going to perform? And everybody focuses on that, right? People don't focus on, if you're looking back at, recent wide receivers, Devontae Smith, I felt like was hyped up like a little bit even more than Jalen Hurts prior to last year. Jalen Hurts kind of balled out. And then it's like, now it's literally all on Jalen. Like nobody cares. It's like, you have a bad game. People will bring it up, but it's not. Once again, this guy lost the game for the Baltimore Ravens. No, it's always going to be on Lamar. It's always going to be on the coach. Yeah. And I think that's a position that benefits from that. Obviously, if you have a drop, people are going to be mad. But that's life. If you mess up, some people are going to get upset, but you're not going to blame it all on the wide receiver. And he is a playmaker. He's going to excite people. Mm-hmm. And when you excite people, they love you. I think that's the best thing that he brings to Baltimore is flash. And he's got to use that. I think he's got to use that on and off the field. And I've seen some flash from him off the field. Like, he seems like he's a very personable guy. In the interviews, he's very outspoken. He's going to be like bringing that energy and that confidence and that swagger to the wide receiver position. Not in the sense, like I felt like Hollywood was he was confident, but I felt like he was laid back.
He definitely was chill.
They'd ask him a question, he's like, yeah, I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to play, good football or whatever. I feel like Zay is like, man, I'm going to score touchdowns. Like I think it's a little bit of a different kind of mentality. Not saying it's bad the other way, but when you're a flashy player that makes big plays, that makes people miss, having that, flashy personality as well is going to be a benefit. And I think it's going to be really good that he learns from Odell Beckham Jr., another guy that was built off the flashy.
You know what? I was just about to bring him up because he immediately, granted, he already mentioned, somebody he would want to play with, as far as QB would be Lamar. We done made it happen. They was already out, at the club celebrating, even though it like Lamar's social media was already drained for that night. But one thing I love about Odell, we all know that Odell is a guy that got the good footwork. He already started hitting his park height strut, his two-step, stuff like that. Baltimore been showing out without dances and getting to it, man. And another thing about Zay, man, is he's the oldest or he helped raise his brothers and sisters. I believe it's either 13 or 14. And when you have a level of responsibility like that, you kind of use that leadership, that love, that caring, and you put it out there on the field and in your community. So, man, it's going to be interesting of how this wide receiver core, grows together and, continue to, make each other better. Because like you said, being part of this wide receiver core and also going to be learning about how one of the, arguably one of the most flashiest wide receivers in this league or decade, it's going to be interesting.
Mhm.
It's going to be interesting. So I love that Steve Smith, reached out to Zay. I hope he comes down to the facility, talks to him personally some more. Shout out to Torrey Smith. He was down here at OTAs as well. Checking out the wide receiver core as well. So I mean, Zay, just go out there and play your game, man. If you ever check us out, man, that's my message to you, man. Just play your game. I know you got a lot on your shoulders, but when it's Sunday, Thursday, Monday night, just do you, man.